Hey y'all, let's talk about watercolor paper. So watercolor paper comes in a few different textures. That is cold press, hot press, and rough. Um, Cold press paper is the most common paper, and it has a nice texture to it. Not too much, not too little. Um, Hot press paper, perfectly smooth. The benefits of cold press is the texture. That legit is that's its key selling point, is it's got texture to it. The benefit of hot press is the lack of texture. It's the smoothness. The smoothness allows for detail, fine lines with smooth edges. So the lack of texture is actually the selling point of hot press. So it's, whether you choose cold or hot, absolutely a personal preference. If you haven't tried, if you've only tried one and not the other, by all means try them both. They're both fantastic. They both have benefits that are unique to each one. So rough paper is exactly as it sounds. It's super rough. So the texture that cold press has, rough is like a whole lot more than that. Rough paper, generally, you don't usually find rough in pads or blocks. You find rough in single sheets. That's not to say it doesn't come in pads. I have seen rough. I do believe Arches and your more, your brands that have been around for a long time and deal in high-end paper, they have rough in pads, and it's pretty cool. If you've never seen or felt rough paper, it's pretty cool paper. So that's the textures: cold press, hot press, rough. Let's talk about the forms that the paper comes in, because it comes in pads, regular pads, like, the pages are individual. It comes, glued. It also comes in spiral bound. Here's a spiral bound pad where the pages are loose. You can get it in sketchbook form. And it comes in blocks. So this is a block. And what a block is it's individual papers that are glued together on all sides. They leave one space unglued so that you can get a palette knife in there to remove the sheet of paper. So the benefit of a block is it holds, the block will keep your paper flat through the whole process, the painting process and the drying process, because you never want to remove your piece of art until it is completely dried. When you do remove it after it's completely dried, the piece is going to stay flat. Whereas if you paint on a single sheet of paper without stretching it first, and stretching means you would wet this whole thing, let it dry before you paint on it, or you tape the piece of paper down to your surface on all sides, kind of creating a makeshift block. Then you paint on it, then you let it completely dry, you peel it up, your paper will remain flat. If I don't pre-wet or tape this page down before I paint, then when this dries, it will dry a little warped. It's going to be a little wonky. So the benefit of a block is you don't have to prepare the surface first. I say that, and then I also will say you don't technically have to prepare this surface first, just know that if you paint on it without preparing it, it's going to buckle or curl on you. Now, there is a trick to fixing that. After you've painted your picture and it's completely dry, if it has curved or buckled on you, you can, this one's hanging on by a thread, so let's just pop it out. Okay. Let's say I painted on this side. I can flip this over, paint water on this whole back side very carefully without getting anything onto my painting, which is on the other side. And I can let this fully dry, and when it does, it will have worked out all the wrinkles. And or I say wrinkles, the buckles and stuff, or the curling. And all it is when you wet this paper, the paper expands and then it contracts when it dries. So if you're only painting on a section, or you're only painting on the front side, well, only this side has expanded and contracted. The other side has remained dry. So that's why if you paint on this side, let it expand, let it contract, and then go to this side, paint it with water, it will expand and contract and work out all the kinks, if that makes sense. Now, the block takes all of that pressure out of the paper because the glue has it stretched out already and is holding it, so it can expand and contract within the parameters of the glue, which will help it dry flat. I hope all of that made sense. The other thing you have to consider with watercolor paper is what the paper is made of. So it comes 100% cotton. This paper, I have quite a few pads that are 100% pure cotton. This is called cotton rag. That's the name of it. Then paper that has no cotton in it is just made out of wood pulp. They call it cellulose paper or wood pulp. And so that's the two different types of paper you can buy in watercolor paper. Now, the 100% cotton watercolor paper does have a heftier price tag than cellulose paper. Maybe the processing is different. Obviously, trees are way more common than cotton fields. So, and cotton is also used in the clothing industry. So, cotton, not that trees aren't used elsewhere, because they're used all kinds of places. But point being, trees are more readily available, so the paper can be less expensive than the cotton paper. The cotton paper, the benefits of it is absorbency. So it holds the water and the pigment way more. You can work into a cotton paper kind of, like if you scratch into your art or get a little rough with the paper, or it holds it more. It holds a little more action and activity better than the surface of cellulose paper. So if you haven't ever tried 100% cotton, give it a try. If you've never tried cellulose and you've only ever painted on cotton paper, try the cellulose paper. I find I like both, and I like them for different reasons. I feel like when I paint on the cotton paper, my blending and the way the colors mix together is more of a smoother transition, whereas cellulose paper, which is this paper here, this is painted on cellulose paper. This is a block, so it's all glued down, but it's cellulose. I find that the water and the pigment sits on the surface a little more. So the mixing that happens with the pigments is a little more textured and active than the cotton, because the cotton wants to absorb all the water and the pigment, whereas this, it's not, it's just not the nature of this to soak up the water and the pigment. So so you have a little more play on this, whereas this, you also have a little more play in a rougher sense. It's very interesting. So there's also paper that has, it's cellulose and cotton. So 20, it's what is this one? This one is a 25% cotton. The rest, 75 cellulose, 25 cotton. So you get a little, bit of a different feel with this paper as well. So and look at this round one. This round one is so cool. I love this one. This came in a block, so it's glued around. There is an opening. I always have the hardest time finding. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I found it. I really should mark it. I think I found it. I did not find it. Anywho, this is 100% cotton paper, and it is in a round form, and it's just fabulous. It's so much fun to work on. So my recommendation is, if you haven't discovered your paper, the paper that you love, the paper that you like to work on, go buy a bunch of different brands. Buy cold press, buy hot press, buy blocks, buy pads. Like this is a half a block. And when I say half a block, I mean it's only glued on two sides. The other two sides are open. So, it gives you the benefit of holding it down, but it also is easier to remove. So buy tinies and play around with them and give them a try, just to help you discover what paper you like without breaking the bank. For example, this is a cellulose watercolor block. I think I paid, I don't know, somewhere between, this is probably about $20 to $25, depending on where you get it. Same size, 100, a block glued down on all sides. Both are cold press. This one, 20 to 25. This one is 60. That's a huge jump price-wise. So that's why I say don't go out and just jump into buying an expensive paper and pad. You may not like it. What if you don't like it? What if you buy hot press and you discover I don't like hot press and you just spent 60 bucks? Don't do that. Go out and buy some smalls. Buy the small. If this doesn't, if a brand you want doesn't come teeny tiny, buy the smallest one you can. Ask an artist friend, hey, do you have any of this that I could try? Or, you just, find someone who's willing to share with you. And return the favor. Share your stuff with someone else if they, want to try something that you have. That's the benefit of artist friends, is sharing. And I love my artist friends because we share supplies. I have cut one of these out, cut it up into little squares and shared it with my friends so that they could, give it a try. So do that. Just try small. Even, sometimes the art supply stores, they have, the companies will give them little samples and things that they could give away. It doesn't hurt to ask, hey, do you have any samples of, arches, or, Fabriano has some 100% cotton, nice paper. Just ask. It can't hurt to ask. So I hope this little chat helped you out. I hope it helped you understand watercolor paper a little bit more. And so enjoy, have fun, go to the store, get yourself a bunch of tinies, and play, play, play. Happy creating, y'all.